I went to the movies again. Actually left my house. Very exciting. I went to see Yorgos Lanthimos. I hope I said that name right. The Lobster, which premiered at Cannes last year and then was released all over Europe last year, and is now in America this year. So it's going to be on all kinds of lists again this year for American film critics. I think it's got 90% right now on Rotten Tomatoes. I read through, I really love reading negative reviews of films that I enjoy because I like to see what it is that critics didn't like, to be like, why didn't you like this? And I found that kind of fascinating exercise with this film. So the film is set in a dystopian future where if you're not in a couple, you have to go to this hotel. You have 45 days to fall in love, be a couple, and go back out into the world. If you don't, you turn into an animal of your choice. Some people run away and they live in the forest, and you get if you're a guest in the hotel and you shoot one of them and bring them in, you get an extra day on your stay in the hotel. That's the premise. Colin Farrell, the love of my life, plays the main character who his wife has just left him, so he goes to this hotel. And the first half is him trying to find love and failing miserably, and the second half is after he's left the hotel and makes his way to the forest where he really does find love. Not very spoiler alert, I don't think, because I think that's all in the trailer. But I really enjoyed watching this with an audience because I knew that it was a dark comedy, and I remember seeing a lot of my critic friends tweeting like, can't wait till Middle America watches The Lobster and sees what they're into when it went like, in bigger theaters. And so the Midtown Art Theater here in Atlanta is, the audience is pretty daring, but, some of the people, they look like, I didn't know if they were going to find it funny. And everyone was like howling. It was like watching like, Tyler Perry movie. I don't know why I said that because I've never actually watched a Tyler Perry movie, but I imagine that in theaters, Tyler Perry movies play really well and people laugh a lot. That's how this was like, and I was like laughing and like, are people gonna laugh too? And people were laughing too at some things that I knew I thought was funny. So it was nice to see it with an audience that all thought it was funny from start to finish. I read several reviews and several tweets and things where people thought the second half wasn't as good, and I don't quite feel the same way. I felt like it was very solid from start to finish. It's two different sections of sort of a critique on two different types of society, two different ways to find love, and what people do when they are dating and what people do when they're in a relationship, but all in this very absurd sort of Kafkaesque world. I think Camus would have really liked this movie. It's all very deadpan and it's all very absurd. And if you don't like Endgame or like things like that, this is not a film for you. If you don't think Endgame is hilarious, this is definitely not a film for you. If you don't know what Endgame is, this is also maybe not a film for you. Colin Farrell is so good in this. He gained a bunch of weight, and like fat Colin Farrell is like everything. I would like skinny Colin Farrell's everything too, but like fat Colin Farrell, just stay fat. I also, Benoit Shaw was in it, so it's like they also cast this movie for me, because it's like Benoit Shaw and Colin Farrell and Rachel Weisz, like everything I want in a movie. What was I going to say? Benoit Shaw. Fat Colin Farrell. I was going to talk about how I love Colin Farrell, and I have loved him for about 15 years, which is half of my life. He's just consistently great. Even if I don't like the film he's in, I always like him. He's been like the one constant in my life for the last 15 years. Like other crushes and other passions and other interests that I have, they come and go like ships in the night. Colin Farrell is like, I'm trying to think of something that's really sturdy. I don't know. Everything else chips away. What's really sturdy? Somebody give me something that's sturdy. Well, anyways, Colin Farrell is sturdy, and my love of him will never fade. Someday I'll meet him, and then I will actually probably turn into a puddle like that scene in Amelie, because that's just every single emotion that you can feel, I will feel, and then it will all be drained from me, and I will no longer exist. So I should probably never meet Colin Farrell. What was I going to say? I just thought this movie was hilarious. This is definitely my kind of humor, and I just thought the performances were great. I thought its critique of both trying to date, being in a relationship, and the way society unequally treats both single people and people in relationships was great. I liked the joke about bisexuality not being an option anymore. Like that whole thing about bisexual erasure is just very fascinating, and that was what I felt was happening with that moment. And not just this whole idea that you have to like figure it out within a certain time period or you're fucked is fascinating, especially because I'm about to turn 30, which part of me is like, ah, and part of me is like, because I'm already over 28, and that's how old Julia Roberts was in my best friend's wedding, and they had a pact to get married to each other before they turned 28 if they didn't find someone, right? And Cameron Diaz was 23 in that movie, and I'm just like, age is nothing. I was reading some of the negative reviews were talking about how it was maybe too dark, and I guess maybe because I have like never been in a relationship, and like the last relationship I was in was 10 years ago, and it lasted 3 months, and I was in college. I don't really have ideas about what love is, and I don't have ideas about what you do for someone else to make them part of your life, because I haven't done that. I do have lots of ideas about trying to date and online dating and all of that, because it's all horrible. So it didn't feel relentlessly dark to me because my entire life is relentlessly dark. That's why I have a cat. But also part of me is like, oh, I'm single forever, and part of me is like, I like being single. I like having my own decisions to make. I don't like being able to not reach things. I'm short. I have to have a really extensive collection of stools around my house to reach everything. That sucks. But so there's a whole idea, like in the film, where to be a perfect mate, you had to have something really in common, like the two limping people and being nearsighted and all kinds of things like that. And that I thought was really fascinating about how we choose our mates. Like you start talking to someone because you have something in common with them, but that shouldn't be everything. It should be something more than that. I also love movies that have endings that aren't really endings. Like John Sayles has this great film called Limbo, and what's another one that ends like that? Take Shelter, like that kind of film. I liked. Fucking dig that shit. So I really enjoyed this movie. I did not see his other movie, Dogtooth. I didn't see that yet, so maybe at some point I'll watch that. But this movie I thought was great. It just opened here in Atlanta at the Midtown Art Center. So if you art cinema, so if you're in Atlanta, you can go see it. If it's playing in LA and New York still, I'm pretty sure it's playing other places. You should also go on the website for it and find out what kind of animal you would turn into. It told me I was going to turn into a cat, and I was like, duh. Although, honestly, if I got to choose, as much as I love cats and cats have a pretty cool life, I'd be a pink flamingo. Like, I love flamingos. They're fantastic. And they're bright pink. I have to be bright pink. That's just very important to me. So this was Yorgos Lanthimos' The Lobster, starring Colin Farrell. It's fucking great. It's hilarious. It's dark. I thought it was great. I think you should go see it. Watch it with an audience and see if they laugh when you laugh. And if so, you're in a good audience. That's all I'm going to say.